Welcome back. I'm absolutely thrilled you're here today because, well, we're doing something just a little bit different for this explainer. We are going to conduct a real forensic deconstruction of a digital artifact. Now, I know what you're probably thinking. We usually tackle massive data sets, right? Or these sprawling, dense research papers. But today, we are analyzing exactly 10 words. That's it. Not a manifesto, not a complex database. We're looking at a stark, hyper-minimalist 10-word checkpoint that literally guards one of the largest digital ecosystems in human history. We're going to put this tiny snippet of interface under the microscope to uncover the incredible psychological and structural architecture that is just hiding in plain sight. I mean, it's honestly amazing how much information, control, and intent can be packed into just a few syllables when you really know how to look at them.
Okay, let's dive into this. Because when we ask ourselves what a digital checkpoint actually looks like in the specific year of 2026, the answer is incredibly stripped down. There is absolutely no fluff here, no welcoming paragraphs, no flashy value propositions trying to convince you why you should be there. The internet has matured into a space of absolute utilitarian efficiency. The source material we're examining today reflects a gateway that assumes you already know exactly where you are and exactly why you're there. It is a pure, unadulterated threshold. To understand how this threshold functions, we'll start with Section 1, the platform context, establishing the surface. This is the very first architectural layer of our source text. It frames precisely how a user identifies the digital entity they're attempting to access before any action can even be considered. Instagram. Just Instagram. That's it. A single noun standing completely alone at the absolute apex of the experience. I want you to treat this single word like a precious specimen under a microscope. In the architecture of this 2026 gateway, this word requires absolutely zero introduction. It doesn't say, "Welcome to Instagram." It doesn't say, "Discover photos on Instagram." Just the name presented with immense monolithic confidence. It acts as the ultimate anchor point. When you arrive, this lone word immediately establishes the entire universe you're standing on the edge of. It's a bold, unmistakable declaration of territory. Once that territory is established, we hit Section 2, the binary user pathway, the decision point. This is the next functional component of the text. It's an area where the utterly mundane mechanics of the internet transform into a strict, completely unavoidable decision: log in or sign up. I really want to emphasize that in the context of this microanalysis, these aren't merely functional buttons. They represent the fundamental binary choice of the entire portal. The digital gateway gives you exactly two options, and absolutely no middle ground whatsoever. You cannot merely exist in this space. You must declare your status. It's a flawlessly designed fork in the road that forces every single user to declare their relationship with the platform. Now, what's really interesting about this is how these two tiny phrases strictly dictate the only permitted actions within this environment. Think about it. Login means you have a recognized existence. The system knows you, it remembers you, and it permits you to resume your digital life. Sign up, on the other hand, is the initiation of a brand new identity. It's the submission to the system's required protocols just to become recognized. You're either inside the club with a history, or you're outside the club asking for an application. This definition highlights the absolute parameters of user state. The gateway absolutely demands that you choose your state of being before you can pass. Let's move to and see how this builds sequentially. Your eyes naturally follow this invisible funnel from top to bottom. It's really a masterful piece of design. Step 1, the mind registers the monolithic brand Instagram. Step 2, the mind is immediately presented with that binary mandate: log in or sign up. And then step 3, the eye falls to the very bottom, hitting the definitive legal bedrock: copyright 2026, Instagram from Meta. It's a perfect 3-step journey, from establishing identity to demanding action to asserting ownership. It's flawless user experience gravity, just pulling you straight down.
And that pulls us perfectly into our final layer, Section 3, Meta and the year 2026, the corporate footer.
This footer is the foundational layer. If the top is the greeting and the middle is the bouncer, the bottom is the literal deed to the property. This is where legal boundaries and corporate ownership anchor the entire digital experience. 2026. Just sit with that specific chronological timestamp for a second. This isn't some timeless floating digital space. It is legally bound and tethered to this exact year. The copyright stamp of 2026 serves as this aha, design realization, locking the ethereal digital gateway firmly into human, real-world time.
It tells the user that this interface, these rules, and this ownership are active, enforced, and legally protected right now.
And this brilliantly illustrates the final, underlying truth of the gateway. That immediate shift from the specific timestamp directly into the corporate ownership of the document. Instagram from Meta. It's a subtle but really heavy reminder of the overarching umbrella. You aren't just logging into a standalone app here. You are stepping into a massive, interconnected corporate ecosystem. The gateway makes sure to quietly whisper exactly who the true landlord is right before you step through the door. Applying our forensic lens here reveals something truly fascinating about brand architecture. Notice how the personal brand identity, Instagram, is kept entirely linguistically isolated at the very top. It's clean, it's approachable, it stands alone. But at the bottom, the absolute last thing you process is the massive corporate entity, Instagram from Meta. The parent company stays completely out of your way while you make your binary choice. It only asserts its total ownership at the very bottom line. It's a fascinating psychological journey from the personal brand you desire straight down to the corporate entity that ultimately owns the interaction.
So let's read the entire 10-word source text aloud in its complete form to summarize exactly what we've discovered. Instagram. Log in, sign up. Copyright 2026 Instagram from Meta. In exactly 10 words, a symbol, and a year, this interface accomplishes everything it legally, functionally, and psychologically needs to do. It establishes location, forces a binary choice of existence, timestamps its legal authority, and declares its corporate master. It is stark, hyper-minimalist mechanics functioning as a perfectly self-contained digital gateway.
Which brings us to the end of our forensic microanalysis. When you break it down, literally every single syllable has a distinct structural purpose. So, I want to leave you with this to ponder. The next time you encounter a threshold like this, look closer at the architecture. Within the strict parameters of this 10-word checkpoint, are you simply logging in? Are you signing up? Or are you, right now, just observing Meta's incredibly rigid, carefully constructed boundaries in the year 2026? Keep analyzing, keep learning, and I'll see you in the next explainer.